I used it as a motivational tool the end of lockdown, and I thought, right, my goal is going to be, by the time I'm opening my doors to work, I'm going to be 12 and a half stone. And I opened my doors to work and I was 12 stone thick. That was in April, and that was my goal. Do you know what I mean? It was like, right, and can you imagine? Like, they've not seen me since I was like, 18 and a half stone. They're literally turning up and they're like, oh my gosh, like, what's going on, kind of thing. So it's just been an amazing, but for me anyway, obviously it's been pretty awful, but for me, I just feel like I think I've had that time. And I think if you're going through weight loss surgery, especially weight loss surgery, I think that it's really important to get those first kind of 6 weeks under your belt in a really, really positive, mindful, kind way.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Singing Stories. I'm your host, Claire Alden West. Thanks so much for joining me for another episode, and this week's episode is part 2 with Angharad's weight loss story. Yeah, I've really enjoyed both interviewing Angharad and also listening to her story and seeing her on Instagram inspiring so many people, and she's just a great guest. And I think it's people like this that will really help you as the nights draw in and things are a lot more cozier, and maybe it's a little bit harder to stick to plan because we don't have to think about the summer wear and all those short tops and everything we have to do when it's summertime, and maybe we're exposing a little more skin, a little more flesh. It's more that season of just being comfortable. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with being comfortable, with feeling really cozy, curling up in front of the fire or under a big onesie. Absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. And the great message that Angharad does give is self-love, that self-acceptance that we need to be giving ourselves, and really checking in with ourselves on a daily basis to make sure that we're not beating ourselves up with a negative, old, outdated story. And if you've been listening to the podcast over the last couple of months, you will have heard me talking about old, outdated stories and about the hypnotherapy process and the fact that I'm now a qualified hypnotherapist. And I'm so excited to say that I've been working with more clients this week, having some fantastic results. And if you're thinking about change work in terms of your weight loss journey, if you're looking for that motivation, that mojo that you feel that is missing, then this is something that I can help you connect to within your weight loss journey. And I've thought about the process of hypnotherapy and how this can help in terms of the weight loss journey, in terms of the motivational piece around, going out and doing exercise, whether that's getting up and doing that in front of your own TV, or whether it's getting out for a run or going to the gym. And I've just thought about how to incorporate this both into the podcast and into a new course. So that is something that I'm looking at doing, I think probably at the beginning of next year. That's something that I'm working on now. And I think it's just about time to explain how hypnotherapy can actually help you with your weight loss. Because the fact of the matter is, if you have an issue with your weight, if you're really struggling, I don't mean that maybe you've had a weekend away and maybe you've overeaten. I'm talking about if you're really struggling to keep motivated and to keep on with any plan of good intention with your weight loss. If you're really struggling with that, then hypnotherapy is something that can really, really help you. But I'm going to, I guess, open up the world of that and explain simple techniques that can really, really help you. And if you look at the link in my show notes, you'll receive a free downloadable hypnotherapy session. And this is just a really nice, relaxing session within an enchanted forest that I released a couple of months ago. And just to let you know that for anybody that did subscribe, that I've had some slight technical difficulties, let's just say, even with doing the podcast, I've always been very honest to say, I'm not particularly technical. This time around, I've been able to work on my website and I've got a VA on board. And we thought that we could allow people to sign up and then produce like a brand new podcast around hypnotherapy, just to kind of get people into understanding what that's about and how it can actually benefit you too. However, that sounds very simple, doesn't it? But technically it's not quite there yet. So I think what I'm going to have to do is either create a brand new podcast all around the hypnotherapy piece, or integrate it into my existing podcast. So needless to say, it's been a really, really busy time for me. And technically, I've had those challenges, believe you me, I've had those challenges, and that's where I'm at the moment. But I've been interviewing some new guests, and I've also been on a podcast myself this week in America, which is, I totally get now how nervous my guests feel when they're being interviewed. So that's something new that I've started to do too. And I've got some more interviews lined up, and I'll share those with you as well. So without further ado, relax, just take it all in, all of the golden nuggets. And I will be following this up with a conversation all about her skin removal. So here's introducing Angharad to part 2 of her slimming story. Enjoy.
It was always about just showing people that, I could, like you just said, that I could do. If I can do it, then definitely anyone can do it. And, you've got to remember, right? I had my surgery 2 weeks later, we're in a lockdown. Then we're out of lockdown. Then I went back into tier 4, and I was doing this on my own. So I had no family to help. I did recovery basically with 3 kids and my 2 dogs. And I realised I was on my own. I realised from an early day, I was on my own. And then obviously we had the lockdown, and so, gyms were open and all of this. And I was like, right, I'm not going to let this affect me. I'm actually going to let this motivate me. And I'm going to use this time now valuably. I mean, to be honest with you, the lockdown for me was the best thing that could have happened, because it actually gave me, for the first time ever in my life, some space to get myself into a good routine, to enjoy cooking again, to try different things. With lockdown, it just helped me so much in the fact that I had this time to actually reevaluate my life, to perhaps self-care, to have really nice hot baths, use my essential oils that I use for my work that I've never used on myself, believe it or not. I've got hundreds. To read good books, to watch a film, to go for long walks, to explore. I'd never been, even walking, like to go on different routes and go through the countryside and see the seasons and, walk through the snow. And it's just honestly been such a blessing, listening to the owls. And I can't explain to you how often I've walked and I've had bad days. Don't get me wrong, it's not all been easy, because obviously lockdown was challenging. We're all at home. I was on my own with my kids, and just getting out there and just sort of like opening my arms up and like saying, I can do this, and coming back and feeling stronger. And I do think there's something about regrounding yourself. And for me, I used it as a motivational tool at the end of lockdown. And I thought, right, my goal is going to be, by the time I'm opening my doors to work, I'm going to be 12.5 stone. Wow. And I opened my doors to work and I was 12 stone thick. That was in April, and that was my goal. Do you know what I mean? It was like, right. And I'm, can you imagine? Like, they've not seen me since I was like, 18 and a half stone. Wow. They're literally turning up and they're like, oh my gosh, like what's going on, kind of thing. So it's just been an amazing, but for me anyway, obviously it's been pretty awful, but for me, I just feel like I think I've had that time. And I think if you're going through weight loss surgery, especially weight loss surgery, I think that it's really important to get those first kind of 6 weeks under your belt in a really, really positive, mindful, kind way. Yeah. Because there's quite a lot of people that message me and say, I'm really struggling, I regret it, I'm not losing weight quick enough. And the reality is, the first 6 weeks, you won't lose as much weight as you ever think, because your body's healing. And, it's all about getting into good routines, mindsets, isn't it? and just healing our body at that stage, rather than I need to lose 3 stone. And I've reassured all these people that have messaged me, and I said, look, I was a slow burner. I was so slow at the beginning. Watch my IGTVs. You know, I was losing £1. Week 3, I lost £1. Week 4, I lost £1.5. You know, and everybody that was cheering me on, you know, even they didn't even quite know what to say. They were like, oh gosh, you know, what are you eating? I was like, well, I'm eating nothing. But my surgeon basically said to me, when you've somebody that's, so I've got PCOS, when you're somebody that's sort of perimenopause, which is what I am, quite early anyway, but when you're in that situation, when you've yo-yoed your whole life, which, you know, most of us have, haven't we, to be in this situation, our metabolic rates aren't functioning like they would if we'd just been big for 20 years. You know, when I've been up and down, up and down, up and down, your body doesn't know where it stands. So he said to me, trust me, just stick with the program, just trust me, drink your water. And it did, and it just literally just started coming off.
I'm just trying to imagine your clients walking through the door. I bet you had some really interesting conversations. I don't know, it's almost like that reveal, isn't it? You're having that reveal so many times over. How did that feel for yourself in that moment, knowing that you're going to get this response from your clients on, you know, every time you open the door? How did that feel?
Well, obviously, I'm not going to lie and say it wasn't amazing. Yes, of course it's amazing. Like you know that you've changed yourself, you know you've dropped dress sizes, but when someone hasn't seen you for so long, it is a massive shock. And sometimes, you know, it's a little bit overwhelming, you know, because ultimately when people mean the nicest things by saying, gosh, you look incredible, you look so amazing, look how pretty you look, but there is a part of us as humans that still always think, oh well, was I not before? Do you know what I mean? So being realistic here, like, it was lovely to get the compliments and I properly like reveled in it, but at the same time, you know, you think to yourself, gosh, you know, how bad was I before? And that's a psychological thing that we have to go through when we've lost weight, because, you know, I suppose I stand differently now. I am more confident, and I feel like I can wear what I want to wear. You know, it's so limited when you're overweight. I find anyway. I don't know about you if you found this, but you know, when you're overweight, you're limited for clothes as well. So you can't ever really feel, yes, you know, I didn't really know who I was. I'm starting to find out who I am now. Like, you know, I bought that lace little thing and I'm starting to think, right, who am I? Who do I want to be? And all of that. And I think my clients are like massively chuffed for me. I mean, obviously I've lost two stone since then. But yeah, most of them have been really supportive, and that's lovely, you know, ultimately. And I think that I'm a better therapist for it probably as well, because I'm healthier probably, if I'm honest. I obviously, you know, never really thought about it before, but my breathing must have been laboured. I must have been sweating quite a lot. And obviously now it doesn't affect me at all. So from their point of view, maybe that's what they would say. I don't know.
And just listen to what you said about, you know, you had the operation and then you had no family around you, and coming back with 3 children. You must have the most fantastic children, because I can imagine that in that moment you would have needed that help. And it just feels that everything you're telling me, it's almost like you drew the line and it was like everything was fresh, everything was new, even down to what you've just said about, you know, your identity and the clothes. And I have wardrobes upstairs of clothes that don't fit. I do.
Right, yeah.
Get rid of them. I cannot get rid of them just yet. So I am determined that they won't be smaller clothes for that much longer.
Yeah.
But no, reaffirming who you now are as a slim, healthy woman it's a new page in your book, isn't it? And it's, how do you want that to read? How's that going to be? And I guess you've got free rein just to be creative and to do what the hell you like.
Yeah, and actually, do you know, you're so right, Claire, because I for so long have said to everyone, I'd really like to find a partner, but actually, like, starting on my journey, I was like, absolutely not. This is my time to do what I want to do, to be who I want to be, without any other influence. Like you touched on my children, I am very fortunate. My children are, you know, a bit older, so they're sort of 11, 12 and 17. And, you know, so they're not babies. They understand why I had the surgery. They understood that it was for me to be physically healthier, mentally healthier. And, you know, for me, it was almost like reaching a new chapter of my life. Like, I'm going to be 40 in October. I've always had it in my head, Claire, it's so weird, but I've always felt like my life was going to begin at 40. I have since I've been about 20. I've always told my friends this, my life is going to start at 40. It's so weird. I don't know if I've just, you know, predetermined this, but I just feel like everything's falling into place nicely for me, but organically. I've not rushed it. It's not been artificial. You know, I waited my time for my surgery. You know, I've got my hair shorter, and like you said, I'm starting to have a price on my head and start to create in boundaries as well, which I've never had in my life. And don't get me wrong, this is hard for me, and it's taking me a bit of work and all of that. And I think that also people around me are finding that tricky as well. Yeah. But I have to remember that actually this is my journey, and I didn't get to, you know, 21.5 stone for no reason. I got there because of all the different things that I was doing, and I need to change ultimately the roots of me, I suppose, to carry on flourishing.
That's it. Things change, the ground's moved, and you're in the better soil now, and you're ready to flourish.
That's a perfect analogy. Yeah.
I'll tell you, I've literally just been recording audio for a forest, for an enchanted forest, for my hypnotherapy. You know, when I was writing that, and I was thinking about how creative to be with my hypnotherapy script, I think it's really important when we do look at the soil, that when we look at the surroundings that we surround ourselves with. And it's quite interesting when you touched upon people's perceptions, because I've had periods of my life, I could literally draw a line from just past 30, totally different. I mean, my life has changed so much in a positive way, so much. And I do feel that I had friendships that were drawn to the victim part of my old past life, and almost, I don't know, I would like to say that they almost enjoyed nurturing me and being there for me and kind of wanting to fix me. Where past that point, when I grew stronger and I was doing things, I was being independent and I was changing things just like you are now, putting those boundaries in place, you know, people don't always like it. They just don't always like it.
No. Yeah, totally.
Really interesting. So how have you found that? Have you found that with, you know, your confidence growing, almost that sense of self, these are my boundaries, I know who I am now, that not everybody likes that, do they?
No. And yeah, it has been a bitter pill to swallow. I definitely feel that, you know, because I am confident and because I am, think, looking really good, it might sound conceited, but I feel good and I know that I look good. And I'd never said this about myself a year ago, ever. And yeah, I wish I had have done, but I'm walking around with a different head on my shoulders, and I have noticed it. And there have been people that have backed away from my life quite noticeably, actually, which has been hurtful. However, I understand that they, you know, it's like a balance, isn't it? And, you know, like you said, people come in for different seasons and people will draw stuff from you. You know, you're very true about the victim mode. You know, I was in a really, really horrific relationship, you know, a couple of years ago. And I know why that person came to me, because I was allowing that kind of almost user, you know, I had no self-worth, no self-esteem, you know, didn't look after myself properly, didn't put value on myself. And of course, you're going to attract those people around you.
Yeah.
They're like, energy vampires and stuff. So yes, I feel like, that has happened to me, and it will continue to happen. And I think as soon as I have my plastic surgery for my fleur-de-lis, which I'm having in September, which is more of a reconstructive surgery rather than cosmetic, I would say. But I know that once that's done, that is going to be kind of the icing of the cake for some people, because I have heard, wow, she's really changed, and who does she think she is? And, gosh, have you seen her flaunting like her basically naked on Instagram? Who wants to see that? Well, do you know what? Like, I don't care. Like, lots of people want to see that. Lots of people want to realise that, in my clothes, you can't see an apron, but with them off, I've got a massive tummy and apron, as you can see. So that I want to make people feel that are on that journey like they're normal, and that you shouldn't be ashamed of it and all of that. So no, I don't. If that's their opinions, they can jog on, and I'll carry on with my life. And actually, you're right. You need the right energy around you. Yeah, definitely.
Really, and I felt at that time with certain friendships, I felt really hurt, very, very hurt. And I didn't understand it. And it was only when I actually put the pieces together, and then I realised that I was fixed. They didn't have to fix me anymore. It was like maybe they didn't feel needed, or probably intimidated by my new self-confidence, my new self-esteem. But I do feel that, you've gone through this transformation, and you've got obviously the operation in September, that your confidence is just going to grow and grow. Your sense of self-worth, of belonging, of, you spoke about not being able to have a place, not feeling that you fit. And now everything that you've spoken about feels to me like you know exactly where you belong now. It feels you've come full circle. You know exactly where you belong, and I would love to have you back on once you've had the operation, just to hear about that. And I wish you all the success.
And I will definitely be documenting all of my surgery. My surgeon's happy to do that, so I'll be really, really looking forward to documenting that and the journey and the real journey of it, because as we all know, that actually plastic surgery, any kind of surgery, isn't perfect. I'm not going to look like a model, and I've got to make sure that I'm realistic with my expectations, and to also show people that this is the reality. It's not, again, a filtered picture of a girl, with a tummy tuck, and she's got the most gorgeous lingerie set on, she's breathing in, but when she sits down, the reality is she's still going to have a bit of a bump and stuff. So it's things like that. I want to really show that is real, and for me, that is more of a functional surgery. That's to remove my overhang, which is very low, to take off all of the laxity, which is here, and just to repair my muscles. And
so thing is, you say that I'm not going to look like a model, but what is a model? Who's to say what a model is?
Exactly, that's true.
Somebody that's 18, not had children, had a weight problem, then, and we're looking at that as perfection, then that's a model, just as somebody else is who maybe plus side. In fact, I believe that Victoria's Secrets are now looking to use all shapes and all sizes.
Amazing. About time, amazing, because there's some absolutely incredible, gorgeous Ashley Graham, and lots of other, I think even Kelly Brook now, I'm not sure what size she is, but they're healthy, they're beautiful, and absolutely. And I think that's the thing, like, I think the last thing I want to say is that I've got down to the weight that I feel is comfortable for me, but I'm not saying that this is the gold standard, or this is the way that you should look. For me, this is the weight that I feel healthy. I can maintain it. I can eat pretty much, had birthday cake last week, went out for a meal with my son for his birthday, went to Wagamama's, and have a glass of, a drink now and then. I'm not now, I don't feel restricted, but I'm having, life's luxuries, occasionally, and this sits well with me. But yeah, I think that as long as you're happy and healthy, then that's the main thing, you know, and I celebrate that for everybody.
Fantastic. And I'm so pleased that you came on the show. I've just loved
thank you so much.
Conversation. Honestly, it's so inspiring, so warm, so friendly, and I just know that for anybody listening that's struggling today, this will really, really fill them up and help them along with their week and just motivate them through. So thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Claire, for having me. I really, really enjoyed it.
I think when you consider the fact that Angharad has had this procedure, this operation, and she's recently had another operation for skin removal, I think it takes a lot. And, you know, the fact that some people think this is easy, I think you really need to just let go of that story, because any operation at the end of the day is an operation. And the fact that she's gone through 2 of these procedures now, I feel is credit to her and her dedication to her health journey, which is, you know, it's fantastic. And she's got this new lease of life, this new energy. You know, she's got a young family, and this is going to really, really serve her well as her family. And she's just lovely and truly inspirational. She really, really is. And what this episode shows is that sheer determination, that real, you know, hardcore resilience to go through this and to come out the other side, especially when you've got young children. You know, I think that's the thing that I always think about when I listen to this story, is the fact that she didn't just do this and then just rest and, you know, put her feet up and be pampered. You know, she's got young children, so she's had that to manage as well. And it sounds to me that they're a great family unit, and she's had lots of support from them, which is absolutely fantastic. So until next time, have a great week ahead. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really, really appreciate it. I appreciate every download, every new subscription. It means the world to me. Until next time, take care.